You're watching NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Coming your way on today's show, 2022 NBA draft grades as we evaluate what all of these teams who had selections did tonight. But first, want to give a shout out to Aura for making tonight's show possible, the all-in-one digital safety tool that can keep you and your family safe. Let's face it, nowadays everything lives online. Don't be the next person to get your identity stolen or your bank accounts hacked. 14-day free trial if you go to aura.com/chatsports. That link available for you in the comment section and the description of this video. So it's now time for the much anticipated 2022 NBA draft grades. And we start off with the Atlanta Hawks. Two selections tonight. A.J. Griffin at number 16, Tyrese Martin, the forward out of UConn, round 251. I really like the selection of A.J. Griffin. I think over time he can become a very good offensive player. The medicals do concern me, though. Missed 2 years of high school basketball with the ankle and knee injuries, but primarily because of the selection of A.J. Griffin and how I think he figures onto that roster, going to give the Atlanta Hawks a B- grade. I don't really care about the second-round selection. It all comes down to A.J. Griffin for me, B- for Atlanta. As for the Boston Celtics, one pick tonight. There were some rumblings that they would try to trade into the first round. They didn't do it. Brad Stevens staying put. They draft J.D. Davison, a really good athlete at the guard spot. Going to have to develop over time. Did some nice things at Alabama last year, but certainly does have some unproven aspects to his game. Because J.D. Davison is the only selection for Boston, I'm going to give them a C grade. I don't think he moves the needle all that much. I don't know if he's going to make the opening night roster. Boston Celtics get a C. As for the Brooklyn Nets, no draft selections in the draft. As we know, they've been busy in years past with all of the player movement that's taken place on that roster. An A for them because they didn't make a selection. As for the Charlotte Hornets, I said going into the draft, you need a big, you need a rim runner who can play alongside LaMelo Ball. They got that in Mark Williams. Then Bryce McGowan's round 240th overall. I thought that was excellent value. Many draft evaluators thought he could sneak into the first round. You get him at number 40, and because of that, I like what the Hornets did, surrounding LaMelo Ball with a good complementary cast, most importantly, that big guy who can give you a lot of good play on both ends of the floor. B grade for the Charlotte Hornets. As for the Chicago Bulls, they get a really good wing defender in Dalen Terry, who reminds me a lot of Andre Iguodala. This isn't going to move the needle all that much offensively, but long-term defensively, the Bulls needed to get better in that department. Dalen Terry will help that. I'm not sure how much he plays as a rookie, but I do like the selection somewhat. B- grade as Arizona had a couple of Wildcats get selected tonight. Shout out your favorite team in the comment section right now, and then when you do that, grade their draft on a scale of 1 to 100. How do you think your squad did in the 2022 NBA draft? It's your opportunity to go back to school, chime in the comments, and be a part of the show. Let me know right now. The Cleveland Cavaliers were very busy. They had some of the most picks among individual teams in this draft class. Ochai Agbaji, round 1, 14th overall. Khalifa Diop, Isaiah Mobley, the brother of Evan, teaming back up with his brother as they both start at USC. Then Luke Travers, round 256 out of Perth. G'day, mate. Because of Agbaji, he is an immediate plug-in, play day one type of player who can come in off the bench, give you really good defense, and knock down some three-point shots. The makings of this Cleveland Cavaliers roster: Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, Jarrett Allen. That's a really good team. I do like the addition of Agbaji. Dallas Mavericks, they traded away that first-round pick for Christian Wood. Basically, they gave up number 26 for a big man who is more durable than Kristaps Porzingis and on any given night can give you 18 and 9. So I'm not factoring that into the grade. I am factoring the value of Jaden Hardy into this grade. It's a B because of the value that you get. The Mavericks had him on their big board at about 18, 19. Has shades of Cameron Thomas. He is a hyper scorer. Off the top of the show, I told you about Aura. Let me tell you more about tonight's presenting sponsor. If you go to aura.com/chatsports, you get a free 14-day trial that can protect you and up to 5 family members. We're talking financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online and device security. You want to keep your identity secure with extensive monitoring of all of your personal info. Nowadays, everything lives online. You got to do everything that you got to do to keep you and your family safe. Free 14-day trial. If you go to aura.com/chatsports, I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. So we continue to keep things churning with our draft grades, and we move ahead to the Denver Nuggets. Christian Braun at 21st overall is another pick that I really liked. There were some draft evaluators that thought that Braun was going to go into the second round. I thought that was ludicrous. Now you look at the other two picks here, they don't really do much for me. I want to focus on Braun here. For a playoff team that's getting Jamal Murray back and Michael Porter Jr. to team up alongside the Joker, I think that Braun, as a guy who can knock down some threes, guard multiple positions, give you energy and athleticism, I think is going to be an impact player as a rookie. Detroit Pistons, they are building something special. They really, really are. Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, all of the other young pieces on that roster, they have the makings of a couple of years being a very solid team. The fact that your future backcourt is basically a little bit less of an athletic John Morant and Cade Cunningham, who could have been Rookie of the Year last year, they are putting everything together right now in a really impressive fashion. A couple years ago, you thought they were going to be in the basement of the NBA for a really long time. They turned it around really quickly. A-plus grade. Cannot wait to see Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham ball out. As for the Golden State Warriors, they held on to pick number 28, and they got a former 5-star recruit coming out of high school in Patrick Baldwin Jr., who elected to go play for his dad at an HBCU at Milwaukee and didn't have a good complementary cast. His offensive production was bad. I think a lot of that was because the supporting cast wasn't all that good, dealt with injuries, dealt with COVID, but as a guy who can get a shot off from anywhere and down the road projects to be a very good 3-and-D player with a sweet stroke from anywhere on the floor, I like it. Then Ryan Rollins, another really good pick there, like the value. They weren't as active late in the second round as we thought they were going to be. The Golden State Warriors get a B grade for the defending champions. Which one do you prefer during the NBA offseason calendar? Is it the draft, type D? Is it free agency, type F in the comment section? Once again, I'm fielding all of your responses down below. Many more draft grades to get to here on the show. We go to the Houston Rockets now. The fact that they got Jabari Smith, the number 1 player on my big board, at number 3 is ridiculous. Now, according to reports, they were content with getting whichever of the trio of Jabari Smith, Paulo Banchero, Chet Holmgren. In my opinion, they get the best player in this draft in Jabari Smith. Tari Eason, they thought was the best defender in this draft class. Basically, that's all that he's going to have to do and be a rim rocker and a high flyer and a guy who can knock down some threes. So Smith and Tari Eason, with where they got them, awesome. And really because of Jabari Smith, you team him up alongside Jalen Green, you have 2 elite wings. And in my opinion, in the NBA nowadays, you win with elite level wing play. Now the Rockets have 2 young stars. I think Smith is going to be a stud. He loves getting in the lab. Indiana Pacers, Benedict Mathurin, Andrew Nembhard out of Gonzaga, a 5-year player there, then Kendall Brown, the wing out of Baylor. Indiana's done some nice things the last couple of years. The trade last year for Tyrese Halliburton, Chris Duarte last year. I'm high on Benedict Mathurin. I personally had him as a top 5 prospect in this class. I'm giving the Indiana Pacers a B-plus grade. Now, I'm not sure if Rick Carlisle is going to be the future coach of Indiana a couple of years from now, but they're starting to put together something special. Do they hold on to Malcolm Brogdon? We'll see. But Benedict Mathurin can be an impact, high-level, 2-way player down the road with a little bit of fine-tuning to his handle. The 3-point stroke already pretty clean. Los Angeles Clippers, 1 pick tonight, Musa Diabate, the forward out of Michigan. This guy has incredible length, can be a really good defender, a lot of unknowns with him, and I'm not all too high on the prospect. I'm going to give the Clippers a C grade here. It's really tough to give these teams higher grades when they only make 1 pick, especially when it's in the second round, like the Clippers and the Boston Celtics. As for the Los Angeles Lakers, what's interesting here, they signed Scottie Pippen Jr. as a UDFA, as well as Sharif O'Neal. Now, that's going to be a 2-way contract for Pippen, and it's going to be a summer league-only deal for Sharif O'Neal. But for Max Christie, down the road, can project to be a 3-and-D player. 35, pretty solid value there. Has to improve that 3-point stroke. I do not expect him to play all that much. As a rookie, it's a C-plus grade for the Los Angeles Lakers. Max Christie really is just solid. As for the Memphis Grizzlies, Jake LaRavia at 19, David Roddy at 23, Kennedy Chandler in the second round, Vince Williams at 47. Vince Williams shot around 40% from distance with VCU. LaRavia is a Kyle Anderson type of player, can do really everything on the floor. Kennedy Chandler at 38 is some of the best value among anybody in this draft. Then David Roddy has a fascinating body at like 260 pounds. But Kennedy Chandler, Tyrese Maxey shades. And the Grizzlies have done a great job of player development. They continue to crush it in the offseason with their player analysis. I'm going with a B grade for the Memphis Grizzlies. We keep it moving with the Miami Heat. One pick tonight. They held on to it at 27, and they got arguably the best international prospect in this class. A lot of people might say Ousmane Dieng, but Nikola Jovic, contested shot-making ability, is not the most explosive or springy athlete, but what do I expect the Heat to do? I expect them to do what they always do and develop prospects, and that's what I expect them to do with Jovic. Why I'm giving them an A grade, fantastic value this late for a player who could have gone in the teens. Milwaukee Bucks now. Marjon Beauchamp out of the G League, the wing at number 24. You play alongside Giannis, I think he's going to be able to bring the best out of him. Then Hugo Besson picked Mr. Irrelevant at 58 overall, the final pick in the draft. He played with Ousmane Dieng with the New Zealand Breakers in the NBL in Australia. Milwaukee Bucks do get a B- grade. This isn't a team that needed to do much. This isn't a team that needed to blow the doors off of anything. A B- grade, pretty solid for Milwaukee. A couple more grades left here. Minnesota Timberwolves. Walker Kessler as their backup big, nearly 5 blocks per game last year, and was the Defensive Player of the Year in college basketball for Auburn. Wendell Moore, I kind of thought he was going to go in the second round. You get him at 26. Was it a little bit of a reach? Maybe. And then the other two picks, they're pretty solid. The Athletic, they had Minot going in the first round, or at least a top 15 prospect. I don't really like his game because he didn't really play that much. He's still somewhat unproven. So I'm going C+ grade here for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Make sure you subscribe to us here at Chat Sports. We cook up content like this. We went live for 7 hours for the NBA draft, and a week from today, we'll be live for NBA free agency. You don't want to miss any of it. Make sure you subscribe by hitting that red sub button down below. New Orleans Pelicans now. At 8th overall, there were some rumblings they'd go Ousmane Dieng. They go Dyson Daniels. Has to work on his three-point shot. Desperately needs to, but basically does everything well. Another one of the great value selections, E.J. Liddell. I had him going 18 to the Chicago Bulls on my final mock. The fact that he slid this late, it's criminal. Then Carlo Matkovic out of Megabasket, round 2, 52 overall. New Orleans next year. Last year, they were an upstart team in the NBA. They pushed the Phoenix Suns, the number 1 seed in the West, to 6 games. If they get Zion Williamson back, they're going to be a problem. And I think Liddell can play right away, and I think that Dyson Daniels can come in off the bench and also play and get some burn. New York Knicks, Trevor Keels, round 2, 42 overall. But there were so many trades that happened with the New York Knicks that we are giving the Knicks right now just a shrug emoji. And if you translate the shrug emoji to a grade, maybe it's a C- or a D. I thought the Knicks should have tried to have made a selection at number 11 overall. They got rid of the cap space for Kemba Walker, but basically they traded away their pick. They didn't draft until late. They got rid of Kemba Walker, and they cleared money for a player in Jalen Brunson who we're not even sure they're going to sign. Head scratcher. That's why it's this emoji. Oklahoma City Thunder. They blew the doors off of this draft, and now in Chet Holmgren, Ousmane Dieng, and Jalen Williams, they have all of these guys who have north of a 7-foot wingspan. What they did and what they're doing right now, and the talent and different bodies and athletes that they are compiling, A grade for OKC. Right up there with Detroit, right up there with the Houston Rockets. These young, burgeoning teams in the NBA doing some really impressive things. As for the Orlando Magic, Paulo Banchero at number 1. I personally would have went with Jabari Smith, but I think that Paulo Banchero, one of the most pro-ready prospects in this draft class. Caleb Houston at number 32, pretty solid pick there. I thought he maybe could have gone mid-30s and the 40s, but the Magic get him there at the start of the second round at 32 overall. Paulo Banchero, I'm giving the Magic a B+ grade because of this. He will really help out that team. Now, I thought they should have drafted a wing like Jabari because that was the need there. I like the fit, and I like the player just a tad bit better. It's a smidge. It's a slight smidge. But Paulo Banchero, basketball IQ, versatile game, really can do everything well, and at that forward spot can really score from all 3 levels. Philadelphia 76ers, They didn't do anything. No draft picks. They traded away Danny Green, and they were able to get a nice little acquisition in DeAnthony Melton, who's going to be a scorer off the bench, but they didn't make any picks, so no grade there. Same can be said for the Phoenix Suns. No grade for the Suns because they didn't make any selections either. So you can rip me in the comments. You can let me know what you think about what I did. Let me know what you think I did with these draft grades. Portland Trailblazers here. Shaedon Sharpe at number 7. I love the pick. There are so many unknowns about this kid. He reclassified, was the number 1 high school recruit originally, went to college early, enrolled at Kentucky in January, has Bradley Beal, Jalen Green scoring ability. Jabari Walker, 57, forward out of Colorado. Good player who sometimes got overshadowed last year. Shaedon Sharpe's going to be able to learn from Damian Lillard. I think he's going to be a walking bucket. He's going to be able to put the biscuit in the basket right away because he can really get a shot off from anywhere on the floor. B grade for the Portland Trailblazers. Sacramento Kings. Thought it was a little bit of a reach going Keegan Murray here. I think they drafted for need instead of best player available. Best player available was Jaden Ivey. Word is he didn't want to get drafted by the Sacramento Kings, and there wasn't much communication there. So they go Keegan Murray, who in my opinion is a more athletic Al Horford. Again, certainly fulfills a need there on that Sacramento Kings roster. It's a C+, though, because I thought it was a little bit of a reach. I do think that he is a polished player. San Antonio Spurs. They did some good stuff here. Jeremy Sohan, I think, factors into being maybe a Draymond Green or a Ben Simmons at the 4 type. He proves that scoring isn't everything at the NBA level. Malachi Branham, the wing out of Ohio State, at number 20. Blake Wesley at number 25. 3 young players who you can build around, all teenagers, by the way, who can really help streamline the development, the growth, and getting the Spurs back to elite-level basketball. Now, what happens with Greg Popovich down the road, we will see. I think Quinn Snyder will replace him, and if he does, has some really good young pieces on that roster. Toronto Raptors made 1 pick. It was Christian Koloko. 33rd overall for arguably the best shot blocker in this draft class. Really good value there for a guy who I think has a lot of upside. And because I like the pick so much, I'm going A grade for the Toronto Raptors. They've been a player development factory. They've done some terrific things over time. I think they're going to be able to turn Christian Koloko into a very solid player. What does it do for Precious Achiuwa? I'm not really sure, but Koloko and the drafting of him, maybe it takes him out of the Rudy Gobert sweepstakes. Utah Jazz did not make a pick. They have a lot of questions with this roster. Who's going to be the next head coach? We're not sure. Are they going to trade away Donovan Mitchell? Rudy Gobert? We will see. Not available for that draft grade. Last one coming in here. Washington Wizards. Johnny Davis, number 10 overall, one of the best scorers in college basketball last year. Then Yannick Nzosa. I think he's going to be a draft and stash. But for Davis, let's say that the Wizards, they have Bradley Beal opt in, and he signs that long-term contract extension. Doesn't mean he's going to be there for the duration of that contract, but it means and it signals that they're going to try to win right now because that's what Beal wants to do. Johnny Davis can allow them to do that. Was one of the best scorers in college basketball last year and a very good defender as well, giving the Washington Wizards, some people call them the Wizards, a B grade. So that does it for our 2022 NBA draft grades. Who will be the best player from this draft class? Let me know. And again, let me know how I did with the draft grades. Some people are going to love me. Some people will hate me, but it's all good. We enjoy the banter.